So good afternoon, all of you.
Good afternoon.
So we are going to discuss large intestine today. So we will be dealing with everything about large intestine. Especially we will be going into the details of cecum and appendix. So this is actually very important essay question for your university exam. Okay. So can you see the slide on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, better. Now see here. Now, what are the parts of large intestine as we have been discussing regularly? This is ascending colon,
Ascending colon,
uh, transverse,
transverse colon, ascending colon, sigmoid colon,
very good.
rectum.
And the rectum continues as anal canal, isn't it? So, what is the first part of the ascending colon called as? What is the start?
Cecum.
Cecum. Very good. So, what is the blind pouch you are seeing from the cecum here? Appendix.
Appendix.
So it is starting, that means the large intestine is actually starting from the ileocecal junction and it is moving as ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum, anal canal. So in the anal canal also we have like mucocutaneous junction. That means it is partly anal canal will be developed from endoderm and ectoderm. The ectodermal part of the anal canal will be looking like two skin. So and the junction of the mucus part and the two skin part you call it as mucocutaneous junction. Okay. So overall the length of large intestines is 1.5 meters. Okay. Now see here, when you look at the large intestine, you will find certain features like this. Okay. Are you finding like the round structures? Okay. So that means it is puckered. Puckered, that means it has all these. It is show. It is showing something like round bulges. Large intestine. Is it showing some round bulges? Okay.
Yes, yes.
So these bulges are actually called as haustra. What is the word used? Haustra. Haustra. Okay. Now, how are these haustrae produced? Haustra is singular and haustrae is plural. So these haustrae are actually produced due to the attachment of this fold of peritoneum. Okay. Can you see this yellowish band? Yellowish band throughout the large intestine? One band is, yes? Okay. So this band is actually called as tinea. Tinea. Tinea is the word which is used. Because of this attachment of this tinea, what happens? The large intestine is pulled. Okay, because of which you will see these haustrae are produced. Okay, then now when you observe from this like all tinea, you will see there are some pouches which are hanging downwards. Fat filled pouch. Can you see this fat filled pouch which is hanging from this tinea? Yes, Hansraj.
Ma'am.
Okay. So this is actually called as epiploic appendages. Okay. Epiploic appendices, epiploic or epiploic appendages is the word used to represent this fat filled pouches which are hanging from the tinea. Okay. Now yesterday we have finished the small intestine. What was the last part of the small intestine? What is the code we use? DJI, ileum, isn't it? So ileum is opening where? Where is the ileum opening?
Cecum.
Cecum. And what is the name of the opening we have? Ileocecal orifice. Isn't it? Ileocecal valve or the ileocecal orifice. Okay. So now overall when you look at the large intestine, you are finding like it is covered with the tinea. Okay. So and you are also finding there are fat filled pouches which are called as epiploic appendages or appendices epiploic. Okay. Now, based on the place where it is present. Now, if you just look at, we are exploring the anterior, like abdomen, you have cut open the anterior abdominal wall and you have seen the abdominal viscera, and this is the way you see the large intestine placed. Now, because this is placed anteriorly, right in front when you have started doing the dissection, you call this tinea, this particular line, as anterior tinea. Okay, and this particular part of the tinea is actually facing towards the greater omentum. If you correlate our previous classes, I told you greater omentum is the fold of peritoneum which was hanging from the stomach. Actually, it covers, no, it covers the transverse colon to continue its journey as transverse mesocolon. That means this particular part of the tinea is facing towards omentum. That's why what is the word? This tinea is given a name called as omental tinea. Okay, and we know yesterday's class I told you mesentery was running, the attached border of mesentery is 15 centimeters long, running from L2 to the right sacroiliac joint. That means this, where I am scrolling my arrow is the point where we have the attachment of mesentery. So that means this particular part of the tinea which is facing towards the mesentery, you call it as mesenteric tinea. Is that understood? What is, if you are finding from anterior aspect, you call them as anterior tinea. If you are finding from the superior aspect, you call them as omental tinea. If you find tinea which is facing towards the mesentery, you call it as mesenteric tinea. Tinea is nothing but the fold of the thickened band of peritoneum, peritoneal band. Okay, and the fat filled pouches are nothing but epiploic appendages. Okay, so this is all, like, now from yesterday's class also I told you we have two flexures, isn't it? So at the right bend you call it as right colic flexure, because right side we have liver, you call this flexure also as hepatic flexure. So this is towards the left side of the abdominal cavity, so this flexure is left colic flexure, and because it is very close to the spleen, you can also call it as splenic flexure. I hope this picture, whatever I have focused here, is very clear for you all. Lokesh?
Yes, ma'am.
So can I proceed to the next slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, see, whatever I discussed in the form of picture only is written here. So, gross features of large intestine. So, it is divided into cecum, we have vermiform appendix, we have colon, we have rectum and anal canal. The special features what we saw is this thickening, no? The longitudinal muscle actually thickens to form this band. What is the name of this thickening? Tinea coli. This yellow line, talking about this yellow line. Hemalata, what is the name of this thickening?
Tinea coli, ma'am.
Tinea coli. Okay. Now I told you we have some puckering. Puckering means as though it is round, like this because of the thickening of this tinea coli, longitudinal muscle. You call this puckering, which is actually produced by tinea coli. And this puckering, what is the name given to this puckering?
Astra.
Ostra. Okay, then I told you we have certain things which are hanging downwards, which are fat filled pouches of peritoneum. What is the name we have given? Epiploic appendages. Okay, appendices, epiploic is the another word which is used in our like textbook. Okay, then so we have, this is the large intestine again. See the longitudinal muscle of the cecum and colon is gathered in, see these three narrow bands. I told you based on the position. See, if it is placed superiorly, what is the word we have used? Omental. Okay, and if it is present front, this is the anterior aspect. What is the word I have used? Anterior. And if it is seen on this aspect, then what is the word we have used? Mesenteric. Isn't it? Is it clear? The tinea coli, based on the position, we have named them differently. If it is facing superiorly, what is the word we have used?
Omental.
Omental. Okay, omental. Then we have free or anterior, and the one which is towards the mesentery, you call it as mesenteric. Okay, so tinea, all these are tinea. Okay, So tinea are shorter than the gut tube itself. Okay, this longitudinal thickened band is actually shorter, because of which only haustrae are produced. Haustrae are produced. Okay, these circulations are called as haustrae. Okay, and what are these like fat-filled pouches? We have appendices epiploicae. Okay, they are fat enclosed by peritoneum hanging from tinea. Okay, now see the length of large intestine, each part of the large intestine. Now we are trying to understand. Now cecum, the length of cecum is 6 centimeters. This is the cecum. And the length of appendix varies. It may range from 2 centimeters to 20 centimeters. In some, like most of the 20 centimeters also. Okay. See, as per my experience of my dissection hall experience is around like 10 to 13 years, where I have seen not more than 7 centimeters. But that means gradually the normal range of the size of the appendix, what we usually see is this much only. Okay, that means 5 to 6 centimeters in length. But in some people, of course, it may also measure around 20 centimeters. Now this is ascending colon. What is the length? 15 centimeters. Transverse colon, such big it will be, 50 centimeters. Okay. Descending colon will be 25 centimeters. Sigmoid colon measures 40 centimeters. Rectum is something which is straight, that is 12 centimeters, and anal canal is 3.8 centimeters. Okay. So all whatever I told you is written here. The tinea coli already I told you. So these are the appendices epiploicae. The longitudinal thickened band you are finding is tinea coli. Okay. Now what is this part you are lifting and trying to see from behind? This bulged part, round bulged part. What is this?
Cecum.
Cecum. Very good. What is this area behind the cecum? We studied when we were doing peritoneum. What is this area behind the cecum called as? What is this peritoneal area below the cecum? Retrocecal recess. You are not studying, you are not submitting answers. I'm continuously telling, you are not paying attention. I don't know. Thorax part, you were very sincere. Abdomen part, you are taking all light. Cecum appendix, I want everybody to write as 15 marks question and submit by tomorrow. Okay? Okay, beta. So this is retrocecal recess. Okay, and this is of course the longitudinal thickened band you are finding. What is this finger-like projection? You are seeing appendix. Okay. What is this yellow in colored structure you have here? What is this yellow colored area? Lokesh? Mesoappendix. Okay. Mesoappendix. The fold of peritoneum which suspends the appendix is called mesoappendix. Okay. Points which I have discussed, skipping now. See, so here we start with cecum. I told you cecum and appendix together we generally get as essay questions. Okay, so where is the cecum situated? How many regions do we have in the abdomen? Meghana? 9 regions. Okay, so in the 9 regions, what is the name of this area where cecum is placed?
Right iliac.
Right iliac fossa. So it is situated in the right iliac fossa. Okay. The length of cecum is 6 centimeters and breadth is more, you see, 7.5 centimeters. Okay. There are 2 more structures in our body where you see length is less and breadth is more. The 2 other structures in our body are prostate gland and also pons of the brain stem. So there also you will see breadth is more and length is less. Cecum, pons and prostate. These are the 3 structures. So when you come to the length of cecum, it is 6 centimeters and breadth is more. You see it is how much? 7.5 centimeters. Okay, and is it symmetrical? You see you are finding right sac is little more bulky when you compare with the left sac. That means it is asymmetrical cul-de-sac. Cul-de means what? Where you can like fill up the thing like a bag it is. Okay, that is the meaning of cul-de-sac. Okay. So this is your, what is this? Mesentery, isn't it? So what is this? Last part of the small intestine, ileum. Ileum is
Ileum.
open into the cecum. Ileocecal orifice will be inside. This band longitudinal thickening is tinea. These are haustrae. Okay, this is appendix. This is mesoappendix. What are these branches? Everything we are discussing in detail. Which artery branches? Which artery branches do we have?
Ilia.
Very good. Ileal branches of superior mesenteric artery. Okay. Yesterday we have discussed no MRI, middle colic, right colic, ileocolic. Okay. Now let us see what are the various shapes of ceca we have. So if you find the cecum something like this, like a cone, and if the appendix is arising from its tip, then you usually call this type as fetal type of cecum. Okay, and among the cadavers what we dissect, usually 2% of the shape falls under this category. Okay, conical appendix arising from its tip. Then we have infantile, so 3%, that means it is little like quadrilateral, like four sides it has. Okay, quadrate, and appendix is actually arising from its depressed bottom. Okay, so this shape is actually called as infantile. This is normal adult. Okay, the right haustra is little larger when you compare with the left one. Okay, so 90% of the ceca what we find in our dissection hall is like normal adult. Okay, right saccule is enlarged, and exaggerated is the one right saccule is hugely enlarged. That is exaggerated. Always I suggest students to, once the dissection hour is over, when you finish the dissection and when students are walking out, or you take time to enter the dissection hall 5 to 10 minutes before and observe all the structures in all the cadavers, not only your cadaver. You should visit table 1, table 2, table 3, table 4, and try to compare the structure. How did you find in your cadaver? How is it found in other cadavers? So that you will learn like what are the differences you find in different like cadavers. You will learn so much by looking into the bodies. Daily you should have this practice to look into all the cadavers to learn more. Always remember this fact. Okay. So then coming to the position, already I told you it is situated in right iliac fossa, but of course due to the rotation of gut we will study during our embryology classes. So if there is any faulty rotation of gut during embryonic development, then we may find different abnormal positions of ceca. Instead of right iliac fossa, sometimes we may find in the left iliac fossa, sometimes we may find in the umbilical region, sometimes we may find below the liver subhepatic region, sometimes we may find in the right lumbar region, sometimes we may also find in pouch of Douglas. Okay, these are all abnormal positions due to faulty, okay, rotation of gut due to faulty embryonic development. Okay. Now, cecum is completely covered by peritoneum. 5% cases upper part of its posterior surface may not receive any peritoneal covering. Then behind the cecum, the first slide I have shown you, like when you lift, I asked you like what is the space? Retrocecal recess, I told you, no? In that area actually we have iliacus muscle, and the fascia which covers the iliacus muscle is fascia iliaca. I'll show you in my following slides. Okay, in case if the 5% of cases where peritoneal covering is not extending behind, then directly the cecum is resting over fascia iliaca, which is the facial covering over iliacus muscle. Now, like always I tell you, in anatomy we should know the relations, like what is present front, anterior, behind, posterior, what is present above, below, and medially. What is present medially? Can you tell me? What is the opening we find medially? You can tell certain relations from our previous classes, knowledge of our previous classes. What is present medially, Ritika? Just recollect the picture. What is opening medially?
Medial to
Ileum, ileum, isn't it? What is present down?
Ma'am, we could
Ma'am,
hear you. Ma'am,
Huh.
ma'am, your voice
the
is
video got
breaking.
stuck
Yes, ma'am,
in
we also stuck.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Video is also clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we will study cecum different relations. Okay, these are actually different positions. You just don't forget this. I told you cecum maybe basically it should present in the right iliac fossa, but sometimes it may be present in left iliac fossa, right lumbar region, subhepatic, umbilical. These are all abnormal positions which may be seen due to abnormal rotation of gut. Is my voice clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let us see what are the relations we have in front. See, this is the normal position of cecum we have. So in front it is related to anterior abdominal wall. Okay. And we know greater omentum will be freely hanging. So obviously the first layer of greater omentum which continues as fourth layer will be coming and touching it. So that means lower margin of greater omentum and coils of ilium. They form anterior relations of cecum. Did you understand better? Now behind, this was what I was trying to tell you. See, if you lift the cecum and behind, I told you this is retrocecal recess, and here you will find a muscle. The name of the muscle is iliacus. What is the name of the muscle? Iliacus. And the fascia which is covering the iliacus is fascia iliaca. Fascia iliaca. So when we do dissection and when we try to remove this fascia iliaca, you will see certain nerves over there. So what are the various nerves we see? Lateral femoral cutaneous nerve. These are all branches coming from lumbar plexus, because lumbar plexus will be coming down on either side. So right side, right lateral femoral cutaneous nerve, right trunk of the femoral nerve, right genitofemoral nerve, and this recess is retrocecal recess. Retrocecal recess. Okay, these are posterior. Now see, you are lifting the cecum, you are trying to show like peritoneal covering. Okay, then above it is in continuation. What is the name of this part? This is our cecum. And what is this better?
Ascending colon.
Very good.
Ascending colon.
Ascending colon. Okay, and it is corresponding with this transtubercular plane, which will be the lower horizontal line, which will be dividing the abdomen into nine regions, isn't it? So there is the superior relation. Now, do you remember inguinal ligament, what we have studied during our initial classes? So below it is actually, see, this becomes the medial 2/3 of the inguinal ligament. From here till the
Ma'am?
end. Huh.
Excuse me, ma'am. The video is stuck for me, ma'am. The slide is also not proper.
Okay. What slide are you seeing?
Now it's okay. Now it's fine, ma'am. Blood supply, peritoneal relations. Yeah, peritoneal relations.
Can you see peritoneal relations now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So superiorly it is in continuation with ascending colon. Okay. Inferiorly, what is this extent? I told you this is inguinal ligament. Isn't it? Huh? So from here, from the pubic symphysis area till here, actually this is medial 2/3. From here to the anterior superior iliac spine is the lateral. Yeah, iliac crest continues. Anterior superior iliac spine is the attachment of inguinal ligament, isn't it? So lateral 1/3 of the inguinal ligament is the inferior relation of the cecum where it is resting. Okay. Now medially, I asked you what is medial, Ritika, isn't it? So medially, actually we have the terminal part of the ilium. It is now opening into the cecum. Okay, and the name of this valve is ileocecal valve. The name of the junction is ileocecal junction. Valve means which is opening and closing. What type of food is now entering into the cecum and ascending colon? What type of food will enter now? Is it digested or undigested, or like the one which is completely digested and absorbed? And actually it is, now we can also use the word the fecal matter, in fact, because no more absorption is left over, because the absorption part I told you yesterday, it is maximum in the jejunum and small part in the ileum, isn't it? That is, so that is the, you are finding the opening. Just a minute. Can you see the slide on the screen?
Yes.
Blood supply is seen.
Yes, ma'am.
Now see here, to continue with this, see, when you see the interior of cecum, you have two openings. One opening is the ileum, which is opening, and it is showing two folds, like two lips. They are like frenula, the upper lip and the lower lip. Okay, and the other opening you are finding here is appendix. Okay, so terminal part of the ileum is ending at the ileocecal junction. Vermiform appendix is also opening, and it is suspended from the cecum by the fold of peritoneum, which is called mesoappendix. Okay, so we also have, I told you, recess. Inferior ileocecal recess is actually lying at this point. This point I discussed when I was talking about peritoneum. So actually here we will have a fold of peritoneum where we have non-vascular fold of peritoneum, which is given a special name called as bloodless fold of Trevis. Bloodless fold of Trevis. That means along this fold of peritoneum, we do not have any blood vessel entering. Okay. Now, what is the, now coming to the blood supply of cecum? So basically, if you remember, I told you midgut derivatives are from the lower part of the major duodenal papillae of the duodenum. That means second part of the duodenum, third part, fourth part of the duodenum, jejunum, ileum, then cecum, appendix, ascending colon, and right 2/3 of the transverse colon. These are all derivatives of midgut. And what is the artery of midgut?
Superior mesenteric artery.
Very good. Superior mesenteric artery. Yesterday I told you superior mesenteric artery has these branches, no, MRI, middle colic, right colic, and ileocolic. Now actually the cecum is deriving its blood supply from ileocolic artery. This ileocolic, anyhow I will elaborate these blood vessels as a separate lecture. So ileocolic artery will have anterior branches and posterior branches. Okay, from the anterior aspects you call it as anterior cecal artery, from behind you call it as posterior cecal artery. Okay, these are the ileocolic arteries. From here only you will see appendicular artery. From the ileocolic artery only we have one more branch which goes towards the appendix. You call this as appendicular artery. We will discuss when we are taking the details of appendix. Okay. So that is ileocolic artery, anterior cecal branches, posterior cecal branches. Now coming to the venous drainage, you will have correspondingly the same names. Okay, anterior and posterior cecal veins will drain into the ileocolic vein. Ileocolic vein will drain into superior mesenteric vein. Superior mesenteric vein will finally drain into portal vein. Portal vein. That means the venous drainage is going into portal circulation. Okay. Then we have lymphatic drainage. Can you see these round lymphatic nodes? So all these lymphatics will drain into ileocolic lymph nodes. Finally, they will also drain into the mesenteric group of lymph nodes, where again they will drain into the cisterna chyli, that is the enlarged lymphatic sac. From where what starts? Thoracic duct.
Thoracic duct.
Very good. So nerve supply, always we have sympathetic and parasympathetic. Yesterday also same nerves we found. In fact, sympathetic is superior mesenteric plexus. Okay, root value is T10 to L1 segments. This is lower down. No? Parasympathetic is always for the abdominal contents. Parasympathetic is vagus. Okay. Now coming to the interior of the cecum. Interior of cecum itself may come as a 3 marks question. So inside the cecum, I told you we have this ileocecal orifice. Okay, which is situated in the posterior medial wall of, this is posterior and also midline. No, that's why posterior medial wall of cecum, where it is now continuing as ascending colon. So it has two valves. This is the lower lip. This is the upper lip. Okay, which are also called as frenulae. So like this it looks exactly. Okay, the upper lip is more or less horizontal and lower lip is actually concave above. Concave above. Both the lips are meeting at ends. At this end they are meeting, this lip they are meeting at the ends. Okay, and they are continuing as folds. These folds are actually called as frenula. Okay, frenula.
Yes.
So each lip, how is it formed? Such thick bands you are finding, no? So this is nothing but reduplication of mucous membrane. Yesterday when we were doing duodenum, jejunum, ileum, there also you found that mucosal, submucosal folds thickening. What was the name given to that? Valves. Jejunum.
What, ma'am?
Jejunum के अंदर भी ऐसे folds दिखाई दिए थे ना, thick folds. What were the names of those folds? Jejunum. Valves of Kerckering.
Karthum. Yes, ma'am.
So such type of mucosal thickening you are finding inside the cecum also. Okay. So these are actually thickening of mucous membrane and submucosa and thickening of the circular muscle and projection of longitudinal muscle of ileum. Okay, that is how these ileocecal valve is formed. Okay. So the lip, actually each lip, it will have one surface facing towards the ileum. You call it as ileal surface. The other surface is facing towards the cecum. You call this as cecal surface. Okay. Ileal surface, when you observe inside, it will show the mucosal folds, which are villi. Okay. Whereas cecal surface of this valve will not show any villi. Okay, because villi is chiefly concerned with the absorption of course, in the ileum, water and minerals and B complex vitamins. Minerals and B complex vitamins. Okay, so this ileocecal orifice is overall measuring about 2.5 centimeters in transverse diameter, and its function is to control the contents from the ileum to the cecum. That means when undigested food is entering from the ileum, okay, it will be allowed to enter into the cecum. Once all undigested food is entered here, that means the fecal matter almost, so you will see this valve will close so that it will prevent the regurgitation. Backflow is prevented. Everywhere, when you have studied the esophagus also, we found sphincters there. When we studied stomach also, cardiac and pyloric sphincters there. When you have studied duodenum also, everywhere we have this control, entry and exit points, isn't it? So this is also one point which is preventing the regurgitation. Okay. It is also showing one more opening. No, what is the name of this opening? We have appendicular orifice. Okay. It is situated 2 centimeters below and slightly behind the cecal orifice. It is guarded by a valve. Everywhere we have valves. No? Here we have ileocecal. Appendicular opening is also guarded by a valve. Okay, you call it as appendicular valve to be more simple, or you can also remember valve of Gerlach. Okay, valve of Gerlach. Okay. Coming to the applied aspects, sometimes you will see if that valve is not properly functioning, then you will see the ileum may just fold inside this large intestine, okay, and it may get invaginated. You call this condition as intussusception. Okay, the coils of ileum is folding in the cecum and ascending colon. Okay, so many coils you may find in the cecum. Okay, ileocolic intussusception is called as. Sometimes if there is any infection, you may find there may be obstruction also in the intestines. Obstruction may be due to worms also, hookworms, tapeworms, okay, Taenia coli, Taenia saginata, long worms you have studied, no, in your +2.
Ascariasis.
Ascariasis. Okay. So after this we will start appendix, but before it may stop better, so I will start again. Okay, I'm ending and starting again.